Once upon a time, there was a teenage boy named Lorcan who said he wanted to be a vampire. Everyone thought he was just looking for attention. He didn't have any friends. All of the kids in the school were afraid of him. He was looking creepy and his head seemed too large for his body. He was unnaturally thin and his eyes were sinking and had a circle around them. His skin was deathly and his voice was scary. When the other kids were playing sports, Lorcan would be sitting in the corner of a schoolyard. He collected books about vampires, devilship, and satanic rituals. He read each one over and over and taken notes. There were always a strange rumor about him floating around the neighborhood. Some younger children claimed they had seen him murder a dog and drink its blood, and bring them home so that he could perform worried experiments on them. His parents were worried sick about him. His odd behavior unnerved them, and they didn't know what to do with him. They brought him to doctors, but none of it did any good. One night, his mother found some of his books when she realized they were about satanic. She was horrified and threw them all in the garbage. Next day, he made a big hole in the ceiling of his wardrobe. It was his secret passage and it allowed him to crawl up into the attic unnoticed. He brought back all of his books and kept them all safe from prying eyes. The attic became his secret place. He even constructed a makeshift and decorated with satanic symbols, upside-down crosses, and crude drawings of devil. During the day, Lorcan was sleepy, but at night he would come alive. One day the teacher gave everyone in the class an assignment. They had to write an essay entitled, "When I Grow Up." The teacher asked if anyone wanted to read their essay out loud to class. And Lorcan raised his hand. He stood in front of the blackboard, holding crumpled pieces of paper and cleared his mind. He began. "I want to be a vampire." The other kids were rolled their eyes and giggling. Lorcan was so excited. The paper was shaking in his hands. "I want to sleep in a coffin. I want to surround myself with death. I want to dedicate myself to evil and get revenge to all of my enemies. I want to surround my soul to Satan and accept him as my Lord and survivor." The teacher interrupted him and she said, "Lorcan, stop it! Stop it, Lorcan!" Lorcan ignored her and his voice grew louder. None of his classmates were giggling now. "I want to drink the blood of little boys and girls and feel it coursing through my veins. I want to sneak my teeth into the soft flesh of my victims and feel their hot blood. I want to rip them up and pull out their inside and feast on their trails. I want to destroy every living thing. I want to burn the world. I want to kill everyone who made fun of me." The teacher lunged at him, snatching paper out of his hands. Lorcan clawed at her and screamed like a mad thing as she grabbed him by the neck and marched him to the principal's office. He was yelling, "I want to be a vampire. I want to kill everyone." Lorcan was suspended from school, and his parents had met with the teacher and the school principal. After that, Everyone watched him like a hawk. Neighborhoods will pull their children off the street if they saw him coming. One night, a little boy who lived in the neighborhood went missing. His parents searched for him, but there was no sign of him anywhere. It was as if he had vanished. The police were called and they knocked on every door in the area, asking questions. One officer questioned Lorcan, and he noted was acting very nervous. The policeman had bad feeling about the teenage, and he insisted on speaking to his mother and father. Lorcan's parents let the police in and agreed to let him search in the house. Lorcan getting nervous. The police officer searched Lorcan's room but didn't find anything. Then he opened the wardrobe and noted a big hole in the ceiling. When he poked his up through the hole, his eyes were greeted by a horrifying sight. Most disturbing thing he had ever seen in his life. The dead body of the missing boy was hanging from the roof. His arms and legs were tied to the rafters of attic in the shape of a crucifix, surrounded by books on devil worship, and the altar was sulfur chalice filled with the blood. The policeman scrambled and raised the alarm. He shouted for his colleagues and told them what he had seen. They began search for Lorcan, but the teenage was nowhere to be found. His parents had no idea where he was. Later on, all the officers did recall witnessing something strange he had saw. That just after all the commotion had started, he thought he saw something fly out one of the upstairs windows, flapping its wings, and disappeared into the night. It was large black bat. It was a completely mystery.